Hey guys, brand new podcast. I'm 65 miles into my 2,000 miles for this year. And it's fucking killing me. This was a big mistake. But you know what? I feel good. My weight's down. I feel fucking really good. I feel really good right now. So if you guys are going to do this with me, Michelle Wolf is definitely doing it. And she is saying it's going to be a tough one. But if you guys want to do it, check out I think the hashtag is Wolf Machine. And by the way, I'm looking for artwork. If anyone wants to make any artwork, I might just make a very simple sleeveless hoodie because I love sleeveless hoodies and just have Wolf and then Machine and then 2K. It's Wolf Machine 2K is the thing. I am in a funk, man. I am in a funk. I don't have depression, I guess, but so I don't know what that is. But just where your brain just shits on every idea you have. Like when you have an idea, your brain's like, that's stupid. Even when something good happens, your brain shoots it down. Well, they'll probably, no one, oh, hey, my TV show, The Go Big Show is airing Thursday nights at 9 p.m., 8 Central on TBS. It was a great week. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I will pat myself on the back because I'm trying to think positively. But it was the highest rated non-scripted show for TBS in 3 years. So people are liking it. I'm very happy that people are liking it. I love everything about this show. I love that I'm not all over it. Like I used to think when I host on shows on travel, I think this is what it is. If we're going to be very candid, is with stand-up or with specials, I know that stuff I can stand behind 100%. And when it comes to like game shows sometimes or being on like traditional television, it just puts me in an uneasy place. But everyone's liking the show. I'm really happy you guys are liking it. It's a fun show. Snoop Dogg, me, Rosario Dawson, Cody Rhodes, Jennifer Nettles, Thursday nights on TBS at 9 o'clock, 8 Central. Check it out. Yeah, I'm in a fucking funk. Everything just, it's almost like my brain's looking for it. And then I got shitty and I kind of was like in the man cave. And by the way, I would clean the man cave and I'm using the fuck out of the man cave right now. And I love it. We are trying, guys. We are trying to get the new podcast studio situated. It is taking time because of COVID. I am fucking OCD about it. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that like, Bert, it's the flu. I know that. I understand that. I get that. My brain isn't that kind of brain. My brain sees all the, if it bleeds, it leads stories where they're like, teacher, 42. COVID dead in the middle of the night. And that's all I see. And you never, all I can say in my head is you never know. So I know the one thing I can do is be in control of it and be safe. But that's I think is fucking with my head is I'm sitting in my goddamn house 24 hours a day. My daughters are losing their shit. Man, wonder what effect this is going to have on our kids. I hope there's like a re-entry into society for my kids. Fuck. I mean, it's been tough, but it's not as tough as it's been for other people. So I'm trying to keep my head up and think positive. But just know that if you're listening to this podcast and you're where I am, I'll tell you what's getting me by. I'm not boozing. I have drank maybe 4 times since November 30th. I drank the day before we did Two Bears, One Cave live. Thank you for everyone who checked that out. The day before that, and then that day, and then I think I went on vacation. Oh no, I had a scotch with my dad. I don't really count that as drinking though. It was a really expensive scotch, and I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna not share a scotch and a cigar with my dad. I'll fucking. So that is what I haven't been doing is boozing. But then what I have been doing is listening to this podcast called The Real Dictators. I'm obsessed with it. Now I'm obsessed with history. I'm going to do, everyone knows I'm doing Winston Churchill Day, January 24th, that morning. I don't know how I can celebrate it with other people. I might just do a live stream, just do like a room where everyone can come in and enjoy the morning with me. That morning, my wife's going to wake me up with a full English breakfast, some juice, some water, a scotch, and a cigar, and I'm going to have it in my bed January 24th. I think I'm going to drink January 23rd because that's a Conor McGregor fight. But I don't really have anything to drink for. Like I'm sitting at home with my kids. So what the fuck am I just going to drink by myself? Yeah, that's what I normally do. But I'm not. I'm just running like fucking crazy. And I've been listening. And so now the thing I'm obsessed with is history. That's been like relaxing me, is like listening to history. And especially with what's going on in our country, it's kind of curious. It's kind of interesting to listen to uprisings and like revolutions and people overthrowing monarchies. I'm obsessed with Tsar Nicholas. Tsar Nicholas was the one who Lenin overthrew. I'm listening to this book called The War That Ended Peace. It's about the World War I. I got obsessed with World War II because of fucking Bill Burr. New episode of Bill Burt out. New episode of Two Bears, One Cave. I got obsessed with Bill Burr turned me on to World War II. Fucking Flyboys is an amazing book. And now I'm reading The War That Ended Peace, and it's fucking good. There's also a podcast that I'm obsessed with. Daniel Bellelli's podcast, Fire History. What is it? Fire History? Daniel Bellelli. I'm gonna try to get him on the podcast. I'm reaching out to some historians. I might just release some extra episodes or just some episodes with history in it because I'm obsessed. There's people I'm obsessed with. Winston Churchill, Teddy Roosevelt. Anyway.
History on Fire is the name of his podcast.
History on Fire. What did I call it?
Fire History.
History on Fire with Daniel Bellelli. I think I'm saying his name right. He's got the fucking most interesting accent. Anyway, that's where my head is. I hope you guys are doing well. I keep putting out the podcast so that you guys got something to listen to when you're in bed, because I know for a fact fucking real dictators, I wish they would speed the fuck up and put out some new ones. Fucking every history podcast comes out like once every 3 months. Guys, speed up your fucking output. Anyway, let's get to the podcast. Today's podcast, it's with Adam Ray. Adam Ray is a stand-up comedian and actor. He has been in a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. He's got a great podcast called About Last Night with Adam Ray. It's awesome. He's got a new album called the Crowd Work album. I'll take it from here. It's all crowd work. It's fucking awesome. But most importantly, February 5th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, Adam Ray and friends are doing a benefit for the Seattle Food Bank. It's Adam Ray, Dana Carvey, Joel McHale, Sue Bird, Thomas Lennon, Eliza Schlesinger, Ron Funches, Adam DeVine, and Joey McIntyre. Fucking Joey McIntyre. Holy shit. All proceeds go to the Seattle Food Bank. It is February 5th at 7 p.m. You can get tickets at rushtix.com. That's RUSHTIX.com. Did I spell that right? My brain's a little fried. Anyway, it's a great podcast. I think you're going to really enjoy it. We laugh a lot. By the way, I will say, just so you know, I was not great on this podcast. At the very beginning, I talked a lot about myself. And then halfway through the podcast, I pivoted and we talked a lot about Adam. So if you think that it's like front loaded with Bert, talking about Bert, you're accurate. But I do pivot and we do talk more about Adam because there's a lot about Adam. There's a lot about Adam that I absolutely love. He's on a road trip right now to Seattle. Georgia wants to go to school in Seattle. See, that's the way my brain works. Is he says he's in a road trip to Seattle and immediately you'll hear this. I go, oh, my daughter wants to go to school up there. And then I got a lot of growth. I got therapy on Friday. I should start airing my therapies. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Without further ado, today's podcast, stand-up comedian, podcaster, actor, my friend, Adam Ray.
He's the man, the myth, the legend, the fucking machine.
I didn't even realize there was shit all over this fucking hat. Anyway.
Nice, dude. I keep the tags, by the way. I just got a Seattle Kraken hat from my soon-to-be father-in-law. And
you're engaged?
I am, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's so funny. You're not super. I'm sorry. Keep going with your story. Keep going.
No. This is your show, and this is what I'm supposed to do: is to plant seeds of topics, and then you take it away, baby.
Keep going with your Kraken's hat.
Go ahead. By the way, we're like two guys that just met but found they have a lot in common. No, go ahead. But I had something to tell you right after that. Wait, you love baseball, dude? Do you breathe air? Oh, fucking dude, I have a story for you. No, so Seattle's about to get a hockey team, right? In 2020, next fall, basically. The arena's being built. It's why hopefully the Sonics will then come back because we needed that. But so they're big hockey fans living in Arizona. And he got me the new we're the Kraken the Seattle is going to be the Kraken. It's like a sea serpent.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I know what the Kraken is.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
Yes, dude. And the serpent, all that stuff. And people are already joking like, all right, so is the arena going to be nicknamed the Crack House? Are fans going to be crackheads? Like, yada, yada, yada. And so I was wearing the hat and I was going to take some of the tags off. And I was like, dude, Bert leaves those stickers on. And I was like, I'm leaving my stickers on.
It's so funny. I would see guys. I remember I bought a pair of off-white Nike somethings. I didn't know what they were. And they came with this tag and I went to cut it off. My daughter's like, no, you don't cut it off. And I was like, well, I'm not wearing a tag on my shoes.
Yeah, it's not foreskin. Like, you leave it. Yeah.
She goes, Dad, that's the cool part of it. And then I was like, I'm just going to cut it off. And she was like, stop. You can just unlace the lace and pull it out. You don't have to cut it. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Dude, real quick before we get back to, silver linings during the pandemic and me being engaged. We're in Sacramento right now, driving up to Seattle. We're going to stop in Oregon, see my pops, and go to Seattle for a bit. And I'm interviewing Sean Kemp at his weed store for the podcast on next week, and then doing some other shit, and just trying to see the fam. I'm always envious of people. You seem like you have a lot of family around, right? Like in SoCal. That's awesome because like when you were creating those bubbles for yourself, very cool. And so, having Seattle not be that far away and her folks in AZ, it's like if we can drive there and try to spend some time before things resume. But we were listening to Best of Netflix and your shit came on real quick. The period party story, dude, that is such a great story. And you have so many jokes in it, which I think, ask Sickler, who any great storyteller, like the amount of jokes because the story itself is already something you want to listen to because I've never heard of that. And the fact the way you're breaking it down, but like the two boys coming and how you were in, and then like you wearing all red and like your sister or your daughter named it Jason because of Friday the 13th. Dude, I mean, it's just like hit after hit, man. That is that's going to go down as one of the best stories of all time.
Oh, thank you. I got props from the feminist community when I told it. Yeah, which is not, they're like, this is, I don't know whatever they said, but it was like something addressing that I was woke and open, whatever. I'm the worst. I am the worst. You just
your inbox got flooded with invites to more period parties. They're like, dude, we just want you to come to all of them because
what's so funny?
You get it.
Little girls were in my inbox got flooded with little girls who had just gotten their period to share with Isla. And that's what Isla like.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said to share with Isla. I did not know whether I thought they were just trying to be like, Bert, I feel like I need to tell you this.
No, they did. They were like, please, this message is to Isla. Thank you, Isla, for letting your daddy share his your period story. I was terrified. My sister got hers and I was freaked out. And my mom showed me this bit and because I'd done it on Conan also. And they're like, yes. I just want you to know I threw myself a period party. Here are pictures. And we welcomed Daryl to our family. And they would all name their period. And Isla was like, it's funny. Isla was like, just so you know, I didn't create it. And I was like, hey, baby, it doesn't matter. And she goes, no, I mean, I just want you to know, like, other people had thought of other people. Like, I wasn't the one that did it, Dad. And I was like, baby, I know that. She's like, well, I just want these kids to know, like, I didn't come. I mean, that's a lot of, I'm like, fucking let it go. It doesn't matter. I
didn't say you invented the period, sweetheart. I'm just saying you put it on the map.
Yeah. I got in trouble in Australia doing that joke. I told the joke on TV, and I guess I've been watching The Crown a lot lately, and you forget.
Just got into it, by the way. We need to talk about it. I'm episode 1 deep, and baby, I am in.
I am obsessed with the royal family,
dude. There's royal families, there's surgeries, there's deceit out of the gate. I mean, like it's everything you want in a show during a pandemic.
And the fact that it's real, it's all real.
So that's what I wanted to ask. It is based on
it's based on the Queen of England.
Holy shit.
The whole thing is based on Queen Elizabeth. Princess Margaret, dude, I'm obsessed with Princess Margaret because she's the one, she was like they used to call her the party princess. By the way, I know I have a lot of British fans, and I know they're listening to this going like, oh fuck, it's just the queen, man. Like we had never. I didn't even know it was a real thing. Like I knew there was a queen. You know, like I knew it was.
Wait, she's the party. She's the party princess. Do you think this is where Darren Carter, the party starter, got his name from?
Do you think? I think Darren Carter and Princess Margaret would really fucking. Can I tell you one night drunk, Amy Schumer and I want to say Amy Schumer and Chris Fairbanks,
nice,
and Theo Vaughn.
Good.
We were all partying together, and they're like, "Hold on," like hammered.
Yeah.
You're the party starter. You're the party starter. Not Darren Carter, it's you. Because I do. I got to be honest with you. It's the party starter is a great fucking nickname.
Branding.
And I have a problem. Like I'm in therapy because of my party starting. I can't say no to a party. I can't say no to impulse. I mean, like,
I know.
I'm so fucking bad.
Me too, man. I just like you, I think you're going dry for January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that too. And it's much needed. And also, I mean, you know, I'm bummed out that I wasn't with DeVine on that one show of the tour when you guys were in Spokane. Cause I feel like one of us would have driven ourselves to the hospital that night because like, that's what, even just being on tour with Adam, an Omaha kid, I didn't realize what my liver was capable of until I went on the road with him. This kid's been drinking since he was 11. So it's just like, I'm like, oh yeah, I started drinking like late high school and like college is really when I started to enjoy the taste of Corona Light. And then here I am like on tour with him. And it's like, sometimes we'd stay at the venue for a little bit and then go to a spot. And then all of a sudden we meet somebody at a venue or at a bar. And they're like, our buddy's on this bar. It's like 20 minutes away, but it's like a brewery. And then we go there till 6 a.m. I mean, it was just, and Adam just powers through, still blackout. At one point, he was crying with some kid with his arm around him because they realized they had the same birthday.
By the way, that is such young guy drinking things to go to someone's bar 20 minutes away. I want the last time I got into a car with someone, the last time.
Yeah.
I was, God, I wish I could remember. This was, by the way, recently, probably like meaning within the last 6 years. I was definitely 40.
Yeah.
And I got into a car with a guy, and I had sold so much merch in Canada that I had all this Canadian cash. I had $6,000 worth of Canadian cash.
Whoa!
From like 4 years of selling merch or 3 years of selling merch or whatever, right? And I didn't know what to do with it, and I was like, you know what? Our anniversary's coming up. I'm going to buy my wife diamond earrings. I know that people listening going, 6,000 doesn't buy a lot of worth of diamond earrings, but it was all I had. I didn't have a lot of money at the time.
Canadian,
and so I was like, but it was $6,000 worth of money that I was like, I want to spend it in Canada.
Yeah.
So I went and did the gig. I had the $6,000 in cash. I didn't want to leave it in my hotel room. I had it with me in my pocket, in my jacket pocket. And I get in a car with a guy who's also partying with us. And he goes, do you want to do coke? And I was like, oh, I'm good. I was like, it's funny. I just started going to a cardiologist. So like, I'm definitely not doing coke.
Yeah.
And he goes, well,
a great excuse if you want to get out of doing coke anytime, by the way.
Yeah.
I just started seeing a cardiologist. Like, who's going to be like, come on, man. It's what's his name? What's the doctor's name? Like,
get him on the phone. So I go, so I said no. And he goes, well, I got a lot. And I said, and I pulled out my $6,000 in cash. I go, how much will, and I waved it, $6,000 get me. And he pulls out a brick of coke and he goes, that's so funny. I have exactly $6,000 worth of cocaine.
Oh,
and I went, oh. And then I thought, if we get pulled over, there is no way I am explaining to a cop, you'll never believe how fucking crazy this is. I'm getting diamond earrings from my wife. I swear to God. He happens to have $6,000 worth of coke. I got 6,000 ducats or whatever they're called. Noonies, toonies, loonies, noogies, noogies. And and that was the last time I was like, I'm getting in cars and because I used to love that. I used to go,
I know, man,
the Dayton Funny Bone. I had a problem with there because we would get done and then they'd be like house party at ... house. And I'd be like, let's go. I loved it.
It's a good thing I never opened for you. I'll just say that because I opened for, Bobby Lee, Harland a little bit, mostly Bobby, right? So, and then DeVine, just later after I started headlining and stuff, but it was, those are big theaters and stuff. You don't skip out on that. But with Bobby, it was like, he's sober. We go to eat, and then sometimes he'd just go right back to the room, we'd go to a gas station. He'd try to force me to take extends with him. I was like, I'm going to hard pass on that, but I'll see you tomorrow for the shows for sure. And then, and then we'd go our separate ways. And then sometimes he would just let me, I'd be at the club still doing what you do, meeting locals, hanging, just soaking it up. Also in the feature spot. I do 30, do my thing. No one knows who I am. Bobby leaves. So they're like, next best thing, where you want to go? So, dude, you and I would have just enabled the shit out of each other.
I speak about myself like I'm dead. I was the funnest fucking comedian. I know, man. Not that I'm not doing comedy now, but when you do theaters and you do drive-ins and you do like bigger venues, I feel like you're definitely still a comedian. You're doing comedy. Yes. I can't say that Gaffigan and Larry the Cable Guy and all these big acts and Chappelle, they're not comics. They're comics. But when you're doing clubs and doing comedy, there's a real lunch pail attitude about it that I miss. I really genuinely miss. And I don't miss being unknown or standing at the door and watching everyone walk past me and not even saying good show, just walking past take care. I used to do a joke when they walk by, I go, great show tonight. And they go, thanks. They didn't do anything. I'm the one that did it. And they would say, thanks a lot, man. And so, but I do miss one of my tenets. I don't know if I'm using that right. One of my things that I believed in was that this is so silly, but it turned out it worked for me. It was that you had to foster local comedy. I was like, I'm never going to fight to bring someone with me. I always want to be, I met some of the greatest comics on the road that were like road dogs, like Tommy Johnigan, working with him the first time. Yeah. I had the hardest time following him, and it forced you to work around it. I worked with Steve Trevino one weekend. I worked with just people that were like monsters, and you were like, all right, this is the job. You got to figure out how to do your job after they did their job. And it's so funny. It wasn't until later in my career that I started bringing people with me, but it was all dudes I met on the road. Dave Williamson, I met in Miami. Cool. Shane Torres, I met in Portland. Jesus Trejo, I met in Oxnard on the lowest of my career, lowest I've ever been in my career. I worked with Jesus Trejo. And so it's funny that I miss those days of doing the clubs. And I remember saying to Adam in Tacoma or Spokane, I said, I've said this to him a number of times. And I think it's the weird way my brain works. I go, I'm bummed. I'm excited for your success. Yeah. I'm so happy that you are where you are, because I enjoy watching Adam. Everything he does, The Righteous Gemstones, fucking amazing.
We're talking about DeVine, not Levine, right?
Yeah.
But also, let's just quick shout out to Levine, also killing it.
Yeah. And so I go,
you know who Adam Levine is?
He's like the lead singer of
I'm not even going to fill in the blanks.
Snoop tried to tell me who Megan Thee Stallion is. Yeah. And I was like, she got shot in the feet? What a weird place to shoot someone. And by the way, she never made bullet marks.
Yeah.
I'm so confused by this.
The feet are a lot more durable than we anticipated as far as taking bullets.
The baby shot her or did Tory Lanez shot her?
That I don't know. I just know that there were bullets flying.
Dude, getting shot in the feet would hurt so bad.
I feel like that's where I would shoot. If I was in some sort of buddy cop movie as the jokey comic relief, I feel like shooting in the foot. And then my partner's like, you shot him in the foot? And
it's it would destroy your foot.
Yeah. I think that's actually probably worse than shooting you. Well, not in the chest or the head, but anywhere else. Here's a quick tangent before we go back to DeVine. If you had to get shot, foot or the wiener?
Oh, foot. Fucking foot. Well, hold on. From how far? I take the dice on the guy that can't hit my wiener. I'd be like, go ahead, try. I'm going to lay on a milking table, and you've got to shoot from under the milking table.
That's what I was asking.
Is he going to use a pea shooter? Anyway.
So DeVine, everything he does is great.
Sometimes my perspective is jaded because I am a glass half full guy. So
Me too.
in all of my success, there's been a lot of non-success. I mean, I didn't start selling tickets until I mean, like 2017. I feel like, for real, like, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I go, I'm always a glass half full. So sometimes my glass half full is looking at my perspective of life. And sometimes people may see that as shade when I don't mean it that way.
Yes.
But like, I remember saying to him drunk that night, and I don't know if I made it clear, but I was like, I'm bummed that you'll never work your whole career to get to here.
Yes.
Versus getting it, I'm not saying undeservedly, but getting it younger and then having I mean, here's the deal: is I'll never get to experience what he got. That's the truth.
Yes.
But I want people to appreciate that there is a lot to be said when you do bust your ass and you lay in bed at like 40 years old and go, well, what will happen to me? And you have managers of clubs say things to you like, so what's the deal? Are you just going to do this forever? And sitting in a car going to radio going, I was planning on it. Like, I don't like,
yeah, I love it.
But
it is.
You know
I think you're not wrong to say that to him, by the way, because I have said that to him quite a bit, where jokingly and then sincerely, where I'm just like, I'll share certain stories of, like we're doing right now, from the road, and he just can't. And I see it in his face being like, man, like I would have fucking loved, like, you know, and again, and then I'm introing him to walk out into the fucking, Paramount in Austin or wherever. And it's like, oh, this rules. But it's good on both sides. But he loves that grind of it. So I think he really would have relished in it. And he's a winner. So I think he would have. Yeah.
He would have loved. Yeah. He would have loved the Omaha Funny Bone.
Yeah.
Like to work there as a host,
coming
as
up,
a host for the weekend, and have people that, like, there was so much. It was so fun to work with someone that you respected. I remember working with Louis C.K. I remember being a feature.
Whoa.
And being like,
and the first guy that you were like, you got, like, the first weekend you got as a feature where you're like, okay, I'm working with a big dog.
It was, you ready for this? It was 3 weekends in a row. My daughter had just been born. I worked with David Tell the first weekend, Daniel Tosh the second weekend, and Louis C.K. the third weekend. And,
oh man. So you knew you were on the right path.
Oh, dude, it was the greatest. Working with the Tell was like,
yeah, I don't
know if it's like the thing I shared to someone like Adam. I go, you don't know how fun it is to be done with the night, right? You've done 2 shows on a Thursday, 2 shows on a Friday, to be done with your night at like 11:10, right? 11:30, 11:35, to go to the bar. The bartenders love you, load you up with drinks, and get excited watching one of your favorite comics in the back, just being like, oh my God, and knowing you've got access to him for the whole night, that you get to talk his ear off about comedy, your favorite thing in the fucking world, and go, what am I doing wrong? Tell me, like, who do you like? What do you like, oh my God, it was like those times, or that I think that's what gets you to fall in love with comedy. And I think this is a bold statement, but I think that
for it.
This is, by the way, get ready to edit this out, Halston. Can I tell you and by the way, not to use Louis' breath in the same sentence as this, and I didn't mean it this way, but that's what sucks for women, is that, like, no one ever had ulterior motives with me. Like, when I sat with David Tell or Louis or Daniel Tosh, I got the authentic part of them. When we talked about comedy, I got authenticity.
Yeah.
So say you're Eliza Schlesinger or Whitney Cummings or any of Amy Schumer, any female comic, that there's always this weird fucking thing of like, is he trying to fuck me?
Yep.
And that sucks. That sucks. And that's why women will never be funny, is that, oh my God, you coughed during my joke and you didn't.
No, I just heard it. I just heard it when I came back. Wait a second. This is even better, dude, because I fucking coughed.
You turned and looked at me.
I coughed.
And if I hadn't acknowledged that joke, everyone would have been like, what the fuck?
I coughed, and as I turned, I heard it here, and I went, oh, what? Because you said, I wasn't looking at your face, and I needed to see your eyes to hear that. God. So I just heard it matter-of-factly. So I literally coughing, looking towards the door, being like, oh God, how do I play this?
It's so funny because I never, like, I'd have to tell just be like, Like, I can't hang out tonight, and just leave. But if you're a hot chick, everyone's going to hang out.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. You know, my first few weekends like that were hosting for Attell, and Schumer was featuring at the Irvine Improv, the old Irvine Improv.
Yeah.
Same thing. They let me, I would come into the green room and be like, and I just was always, I don't know who told me, or I just felt like, I don't know, I didn't, like, they are friends already. So I go, hey, I'm going to bounce, whatever. And Dave was like, where are you going? Hang out. You're on the show, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you unsure? He's like, you're on the show, right? Your name's right. And he's like, and then they chummed me up and they were so sweet. And then the next weekend was Geraldo and Jesse Joyce. And that was amazing too, because same thing, man. They like, you get the reps of the weekend, you get the whole experience, but man, Greg even giving me the time of day and making fun of me on stage one night. I was wearing a backwards hat and like the short sleeve checkered shirt. And he goes, keep it going for Adam, dressing like a fucking fifth grader tonight. He goes, and then he just would roast me throughout and like chat. And we almost all drove up. The shows were over Halloween. And it was like maybe 2 years before he passed, or a year actually. And we were all going to drive up together. I was going to drive them all up to West Hollywood. I kept telling him about the West Hollywood Santa Monica parade. And Greg was like, that sounds fucking insane. I kind of want to see it. And I was like, I'll drive you guys all up. We'll come back. And we almost did. And they stayed. And I went up anyway, because I was doing some man on the street bullshit interviews. And I didn't stay and hang. And I regret that. But again, just a weekend of, and then they would go out of their way to give me comedy advice that I didn't ask for, just because they saw that I was going out of my way to chum it up with them, that Greg would say, hey man, like, I noticed you blah, 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 just little things. Wasn't trying to, but he was like, this kid, I can tell that he's going for it. So I'm going to go out of my way to whatever and pay it forward, you know?
It's the coolest thing, man. The coolest thing is in comedy is like, is when you like, I don't, there's no, like, there's a few things I'm obsessed with. And, you know, I think that's why Rogan's so into like having like getting to have like Cam Haines and what's Knock On's name? I forget. Like the best bow hunters on is when you get into something, it's the coolest thing is talking about it. Yeah. Like sometimes not even doing it, just talking about it. I remember saying to someone who partied with Attell and Geraldo late night one night, like really partied. And I was like, what's that like? Is it? And they're like, oh, we just talk comedy. And I was like,
oh man, that's unbelievable. Yeah, that's the dream, man. Did you find when you said you went to Australia and the period joke didn't work? Did you find overall though that your sensibility went over well? I was just there doing the Rock show about his life for NBC for 5 weeks, and I had to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then I did stand up. So The Rock has a show coming out, Dwayne Johnson, about his life called Young Rock, and I'm in it. And so I went to Australia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's great, man. I've like become, I mean, you know, we text, we send voice notes. It's fucking bonkers, Bert.
The Rock is so fucking, you know, what sucks is I wrote jokes about The Rock and about Kevin Hart, and I tried the one out about Kevin Hart and it just didn't hit. And they just, when you do jokes about those guys that you really, really enjoy and like, if they don't come out right, they sound mean, and you're like, oh, that's not my intention. So I bailed on The Rock joke because I like him that much, and I was like, I'm not doing a joke about the fucking Rock.
Universally liked, by the way. And here's so sometimes like
universally liked,
like to where if he runs for something, like you know, you're like, yeah, like I mean, he's got something for everybody, whether it's the Titan games or it's tequila or, you know, kid movies, Jumanji, Fast and Furious, now the show about his life. So, you know, we'll message and I'll sometimes get something right back. And sometimes it's maybe 3 weeks or a month, but it's always back. And then it's like a 5-minute thing recapping. It's just, he's so attentive, so considerate. Yeah. Also got a comics brain. Like we fucking banter like you and I banter. It's insane. But so he had this post. Here's just a little me rolling the dice. You'll appreciate this. I was with my fiance's folks in Arizona. We're doing some karaoke late night. They're a big karaoke family, and he posted on his Instagram this thing that said how he was named the most likable person in the world. And in his caption it says, "From being called a big complicated asshole at 15 due to fighting that led to suspension, to now being called the most likable person in the world," and then something else. And I screenshot it, texted to him, and this is after about quite a few cocktails, and I'm just feeling good. with my girl's family. We're in AZ. We're all COVID free. I'm, had gotten a Christmas Day message from him. So I go, fucking fantastic. I go, t-shirt idea.
T-shirt idea.
And then I go, one side, one is already off to a rocky start. Just doubling down on the is. just I go, one is young rock with big complicated asshole on one side. And on the other side is your smiling mug with most likable person in the world. Caption, always grinding or growed up. And then I go, this heartfelt moment brought to you by Terramana Margaritas, which is his tequila. So hopefully at the end, he goes, and I show that to a buddy of mine. He goes, you saved it at the end. You told him you were,
always grinding's good.
Always grinding's real good. You see how I was trying to like play to both sides of him? I was like, always grinding. Like that's the real option. And then growed up is kind of, if you want to, goof yourself.
It's hard when you write a joke about like a celebrity. It's like why I really love Bert is like, I don't know. Did he do his Michelle Obama joke on his last special?
Yes. Yes. On Paper Tiger. Yeah.
You take a swing at someone like that.
It's a big swing.
And it's fucking great.
Yeah. Crushes.
And I was taking big swings at The Rock and and it was like, you could see, it sounds crazy, but you could see who he inspired in the audience going, oh, come on, man. And you're like, it's a joke. Like, and then you're like, and like the one about Kevin, I think kind of got out and it's been like, it was like media fodder for anytime I did press, they were like, so what's the thing about you downplay Kevin Hart's hard work? And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying we all work hard. It was a joke. I was like, it didn't land the way I wanted it to. I was, I'm trying to work out a premise here. And the whole thing was that let's acknowledge luck. Let's acknowledge luck. And the whole joke was that if Cat Williams hadn't had a gun in his bag, then maybe Kevin wouldn't have been on Fool's Gold. Like, let's just celebrate Cat Williams having a gun in his bag. It's like, it sucks. It's, I did a joke on this last tour. I had a joke about Confederate statues, and it's a joke where you go, where it's probably not the best joke I've ever written, but if you saw it in the club and you heard it, you go, wow, I like that. And you come up and you're like, Confederate statues joke is good. And it's just a good joke. It's a good joke, right? But it was like fucking racist for like 8 weeks. It was just not good. It was not good. And that was not my intention. My intention was to obviously play to the right side of the world in this, but also to take swings, it's so fucking hard to write a joke. And sometimes people don't acknowledge that, like, that you go like, hey man, I'm not here to fucking hurt anybody. I'm here to make you laugh.
Also with you, do you feel like, because, with your bits being just having more girth and weight and stories, like, do you feel like you're like, man, it's almost tougher in a way because you need more time to work them out. So like, if you're really doing like a 5-minute bit and, you're really trying to find all the beats and the ins and outs, and people see, it's 60% done, but they see parts that they're like, oh, that was whatever. And then they kind of jump on it based on that. Or do you just trust that?
I just, it stinks. I think when you were young, when I was younger, I definitely had more of an opportunity to work in anonymity as opposed to now you go out and do a tour and it's like, you're playing to not all your fans, but to a lot of your fans, if you're doing big venues and then you don't have the opportunity to take a joke and then really kind of finesse it the way sometimes it's just up and running and you're like, all right, here's where we're taking it. Yeah. So like that's kind of
good though, right? It forces you just to kind of go like to really maybe cut the fat and go, this is what it is. They're here. They want it. I want to, I'm just going to do where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, with the machine story, I think, okay, how about this? I think those clubs for me doing the machine, I did the machine story for 4 years. And I think that is like learning, being what is it called when you work under a guy who really knows a craft or a trade? Like
an apprentice?
An apprentice. I think that was my apprenticeship, was learning how to tell the machine story. And then once I learned how to tell that machine story, I don't. There's a lot that I mean, you could have told me, but I wouldn't have understood. But now I understand. I understand the structure of a story a lot quicker. Where I go, oh, we need to get to here, and we need something here, and I need to plant something here. I understand it a lot quicker, but that still doesn't like. And then I also know, I know so many cheat codes now. That's like the greatest part of like when you get to 20 years, the amount of cheat codes you have where you're like this sounds horrible, but do you remember when Dane said he's stealing my essence?
Yes. Wait, who? Somebody said they were stealing Dane's essence, or Dane said
he's stealing my essence.
Gotcha.
And you were like, and everyone was like, Dane's out of his fucking mind. And then you started doing comedy longer, and you're like, no, I know what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what he's saying. I got it. I got it. Like, it actually made sense.
Right.
I don't know if it was accurate. I won't say if it was or it wasn't, because I mean, really good friends with the guy he said it about, but it was, I understand what he says now.
Right.
And then this is the cheat code is I notice it in like, I can notice it sometimes in really big comics. Sometimes they will take something that is a motif and plug it in when they're being lazy and get to the next step, as opposed to doing the original thing. Right. And then when you see guys who don't do that, like Bert does not do that ever. He is so fucking frustrating. He is so I know frustrating that you're like, or Segura, man. I gotta be honest with you, man. I never talk about Tommy's stand-up because we're such close friends.
For sure.
And I think people draw comparisons between the two of us.
Yeah.
And there is no comparison. What he does is so totally different than what I do, and so fucking good. Like,
which is why it works. Which is why your dynamic is so great. Yeah, well, he was also on that Best of Netflix thing that we were listening to, and he had his story. The thing they played was the thing about the guy Craig who working at the bank, and he didn't know if he worked there or not.
Yeah,
and just his. You know what I love about Tommy that I always try to make applicable to my my own shit is just the patience and the calmness and the trust, and that what he's saying is there, because sometimes I can have a tendency to go a little fast on things, and it's like, man, he just sits in the pocket, takes his time, and just lets you hear and taste every part of what he's given you, so you can get all the info. But also his just very sly, not condescending, but almost like with the guy when he was just like, the guy kept saying things about like, I'm going to Virginia next week. And Tommy was like, okay. just even that, you're like, everyone's been what Tom is conveying. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he has a very, very real everyman.
1,000%, man.
He's the guy you want to sit next to at a wedding.
Oh my God.
And not know at all, meet. And then for whatever reason, you guys both order the same drink, and it shows up at the same time. And he's like, oh, really? Dirty martini. And you're like, it's my starter off drink. He's like, mine too. You tap glasses, and then you've got this in, and it's like, look at this fucking cum dumpster walking up behind you. Look at her. Like,
they're not going to make it. Yeah. Dude, you want to get out of here?
This podcast is brought to you by TurboTax Live. You are unique, and so are your taxes. TurboTax Live has experienced tax experts who listen to you, learn about your unique tax situation, and answer your questions. And on top of that, all of that, they can do your taxes from start to finish. Maybe you just started investing and want some reassurance from an expert that you're doing things right. Maybe you're now self-employed and need some expert advice on what qualifies as a home office deduction. Or maybe you'd rather have an expert file your taxes so you can focus on what matters the most. No matter what your situation is, TurboTax Live tax experts, can answer specific questions, walk you through the process, review your return before you file, or even do it all for you. TurboTax Live gives you the confidence that your uniquely you taxes are done right. Intuit TurboTax Live. File with the help of an expert, or let an expert file for you. We all have extra stuff lying around or hidden away in a closet that isn't being used anymore. And a lot of us have stuff in great condition that someone else could get a ton of use out of. Myself, I had a closet full of stuff, full of brand new wardrobe that had never been used that I got on TV shows. I had a man cave full of stuff. What do I do with that stuff? Mercari. Mercari is the marketplace app that makes it easy to give my unused items a new life when I get rid of them. It's the simple way to say goodbye by selling your stuff to someone who actually wants it. And when a buyer says hello, you make money. Once you download Mercari, you just have to take a few pictures of your stuff, add a description, and it's listed. When it's sold, Mercari makes it easy by emailing you a shipping label so you can box up your item and send it to its new home. Super simple. Shopping on Mercari saves you money. You'll find practically new items at up to 70% off with no need for an in-person meetup. It's the safest way to buy and sell right now. Mercari is a simple way to make sure the things that you have don't go unused by selling them instead of letting them just sit around. You can buy or sell almost anything like Jordans or I have a ton of Adidas. I went through an Adidas phase that I bought 13s. So I wear 13 in Nike, and then I didn't ever return them. And so I have like 4 pairs of Adidas that I'm selling on Mercari. With over 50 million app downloads, your items actually sell on Mercari. Want to breathe new life into some unused stuff? Give every goodbye a hello when you buy or sell on Mercari. Find Mercari in the App Store or at Mercari.com. That's MERCARI.com, Mercari. Your marketplace download today. I got to share some very hilarious, like I couldn't share them with him because he was in a lot of pain, but when he broke his arm and leg and we had to get him to the hospital.
That was oh my God, dude.
You want to talk about my favorite moment ever? Is we get you
putting his arm back? Dude, I've never laughed so hard in my entire life.
Let me just get that for you, buddy. Hold on one second.
Oh my God, dude. Of all the things you could do, but also, kind of the right move. You were like, if he's got to sit here like this, he shouldn't. Like that is way better. So your instincts were right. But so what was the best part of that?
I'm sure I've talked about this somewhere, but we got him into his we got him into his screening room at his house, which was downstairs. And then his wife called me in the morning and said, we need to get him to the hospital. He needs to go to his orthopedist. She's like, can you pick up a wheelchair? And I was like, yeah. And so I started looking at wheelchairs. And then she goes, wait, do they got to have like a medical transport for something like this? And I was like, of course. So I get a hold of this medical transport. And immediately she's like, I go, they'll be there at this time. I go, just giving you a heads up. I'm not really sure about this medical transport. Wait. She's like, what do you mean? I go, I don't know. I can't be certain they're going to be there because I called once and he said, hey, no problem, buddy. Sure thing. Pick up, no problem. I go, hold on. You bring the wheelchair, right? And he goes, no problem. I got you, buddy. And he hangs up. And I was like, well, I don't feel like I booked it technically. I called back. And a white girl answers like, hello, medical transport 911 or whatever. And I go, hold on. I think I just ordered a thing. And she goes, hold on. Can I get your name and address? And I went, all right, this guy never did that. He never did that. He just got my phone number. And I was like, okay, hold on. So I start talking to her and I go, now I'm really booking one. And we get disconnected. I call back and the guy goes, hey, buddy, how you doing? Bert, huh? And I went, motherfucker. So I call Christina. I'm like, listen, I think it's legit. And this guy shows up.
I just called Jamie Kennedy and he's doing like 18 different voices on me.
And the guy that shows up is like, I mean, out of casting 101. If you're like, I need nondescript person of color. I don't know what island he's from, but nondescript person of color that smokes pot all day long, looks very comfortable in scrubs and has long hair and a ponytail, probably has a band and does jujitsu. Can he drive us? And he gets in there, and this guy is like having the time of his life. Tom is having the worst day of his life. Oh. This guy's like driving, flying through the streets. He's like, so what do you guys do for a living? And as soon as he said that, I am crying, laughing. And we both have masks on. And Tom's like, we're comedians. And he's like, tell me a joke. And Tom's like this. No. So when I know you guys, and Tom knows that I am chomping at the bit, that I am the guy that wants to go, I don't know, man, you got Netflix?
You love it. You love it. And I love that about you.
Oh, and man, that whole fucking day. And that is like what makes that guy hilarious is
That's
like
amazing.
in those moments, like, it's interesting what makes the comic. What's so funny is when I watch, I feel like you're murdering it on Instagram. But then when you say you got engaged, I was like, God damn it, I don't feel like I know anything about Adam other than he has nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
the only really personal shit you share.
Yeah, I use it for a lot of just the and even for them, it's like what I post a lot of like silly, goofy stuff. So I really just try to use it mostly for the comedy stuff. And I've never been super, public with that stuff anyway, but posted about it when it happened, but it there's just so much stuff flying through. But yeah, it's
there are
great,
guys
man.
like that. There are guys like Segura's private.
Yeah.
Joe's very private.
Yeah, I don't know. I just but you got to a little bit. But yeah, I it's like she knows all the people in my life that needs to know, and yeah, there's moments to do it. But
was that like an early decision, or was that something you kind of?
No, it was we talked about, yeah, and then we went up to Seattle, and I wanted to kind of do it up there around. I got my dad and drove him up, and his wife had just passed, and which I don't know if you've been around hospice, but that whole situation is just fucking crazy, and just even people. I was trying to write some jokes about it because it was so not in the moment, but it was also tough. Like you can't turn your comic brain off, dude. A buddy of mine texted me. He was like, and trying to get some answers for something, and I was like, hey man, can I get back to you? I'm with my dad, and my stepmom's on hospice. It's not just the best time. He's like, no worries. Text me back 10 minutes later, and he's like, dude, I feel like such an asshole. I thought you said your stepmom was on Hospice. I thought that was some new dating app you were trying to sell me on. I was like, oh man. And then I just text back. I go, well, she is leaving him, so you're not totally wrong on like just whatever you're. And we just kind of started going back and forth. And I was like, this was a necessary text thread because it was so heavy, But so I wanted to bring him up to be around there. And then we did a whole thing in my mom and stepdad's backyard, and it was great. I got a little sumo thing. I made like a little party, right? And so we had my nieces and sister and brother-in-law, who's a rapper. His name's Dirte. His real name's Tim, but he's a rapper. His name's Dirte. If you want me to send you some links,
please send me some links. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I've talked about this on a couple pods because it was a slow roll getting to know him, because it was just like, my sister's like, hey, will you come to this guy's I'm dating show? And I was like, oh, what type of like magic? she's like, not exactly. And I go there, and he's got his shirt off, and he kind of sounds like DMX.
I already like the guy. I like it already. Guy's got good taste. I'm into this costume.
He is actually the Bert Kreischer of rapping. Let's just say that.
How do you spell Dirte?
Hilarious that you're asking, that I'm telling you. He'll love this. Dirtay.
Why? How did I not?
I think on Twitter he's the asshole Dirte.
Oh my God, I love him.
So he's got a couple real good songs. So this show I go to, my sister's front row dancing, singing along at this bar. And one of the songs, he's like,
him?
There it is, baby. There it is, baby. That is the father to my nieces.
He legit follows through with the name Dirte.
Yeah, man. And he's like, he's a great dude, man. And big sports guy, big comedy guy, fan of yours for sure. It's just, he knows all the good shit, but I go to the show, and he's up there rapping, being like, all these bitches gotta suck my dick, and when you get to the trick and get on your knees, and if you don't respect, then you fucking suck my sack, and fucking and then my sister's up front like singing along, and he's just like, and I'll choke you, I'll fuck you, I'll do it. And I'm just like, and she's singing along, and I'm just like, what is happening? And then he's like, there's a current bitch in my life that I love, and I'm just like, I mean, again, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, and I give it to her the way you give it to her, and I'm looking at like my buddy, and he's like, I think he's singing about your sister.
I think he's thinking about your sister. Lick on these balls and suck my dick. And you're
and
like,
then I'm like, I don't know if that's her. And he's like, so Natalie, put your hands in the air. I'm like, okay, that's definitely about it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Her brother's a comedian. He's got a podcast.
He's standing in the back. Everybody.
He's right there. He's shaking his head like it's not him, but it's him. It's him. It's him. It's him. It's him. It's him. It's him.
Imagine him actually singing that. It's him. It's him. It's him.
There's like a part of me that really, I honestly, I've said this to Tom a million times. I can't believe I haven't put out a rap album.
I know, man.
I love, first of all, I'm a really good rhymer. Like when I first started, I was doing comedy guitar. Like in college, I would play the guitar and write songs.
I love it.
And and it was so fun. I was saying to someone, I was saying maybe to Jeff Dunham that like, you'll never, maybe it was Jeff Dunham. I was like, you'll never know the joy. So a lot of comics will never know the joy. Like a lot of comics look down at like musical comedy of guys who write songs and play them, but they'll never know the joy of putting together a song, how much fun it is. It's so different than doing a bit.
Bert, I can't agree with you more. I put out a comedy song album last year, and on the road when I headline, I do, the show's about hour 20. You get about 55 hours of that of jokes, and then 15 to 20 is improvised musical crowd work that I do at the end. I used to do it with Avery Pearson on the keys, and now I've been doing it with this kid, Jeremy Shockley, who plays guitar. And we, because I do a crowd work and I just put out a crowd work album and it's so fun, dude, to make up songs with them. Summers, we do a couple scripted ones and then it's crowd work through the music. Dude, I'll send you a couple of these clips. It's fire, man, because it's through music. It's like, and we both have musical backgrounds and it's fun and you're still riffing off shit, but getting to kind of, find these moments through music. It's almost like having a puppet. There's shit you can get away with when it's through song and you're singing it. Like this one couple in Arizona, this guy had 6 kids and I started singing about which was your favorite. And we got everyone in the crowd going, which is your favorite? Who do you not like the most? It was just like, which one, if you left them at the bus, would you not miss? It was just like, all this. Not miss. But people were singing along and it was, so I 1,000% get you, man. It's another thing to have in your pocket,
Oh, I wrote, the last comedy song I wrote was the Ballad of Big Tommy Buns. It was when we were, I just found it. I'm not even joking. I just found it. Like I found me writing it out. And it was like, it's just really fun to write a comedy song because a lot of it's arithmetic. A lot of it is, it has to work out. But I love the improv of music I love all the improv of comedy. And you kind of lose that a little bit in theaters. Like I remember someone saying like, if you got an hour in a club, you got about 35 minutes in a theater. And I was like, oh, you're crazy. And they were like, and I did my first theater and I was like, oh, wow, I don't even have. And then when you take your hour in a theater, oh, you've got 2 hours in a club because you can have so much fun in a club.
I know.
Like so much fucking fun. I was just saying this on a conference call, literally 3 minutes before we started going this, like I want to do, we're talking about starting up a tour. And I was like, I definitely want to get into some clubs because I feel like I've been swimming in overalls in these drive-in shows. And I know how to, Leanne said, my wife is not the best at analogies and doesn't get analogies.
But she crushes so much other stuff. That's all right.
I don't know, fucking. You know what she did today? We were in a conference call and I was saying a story about how I've been wanting, this is going to sound horrible. I know people aren't going to take this the right way, but being serious.
Yeah.
I read this article about Down syndrome being all but eradicated. When I say eradicated because of abortion in like the Scandinavian countries. That's what I had read in an article. And they were saying that because of early testing, now they've just eliminated Down syndrome. That you don't see any people with Down syndrome. And I was trying to find the upside of what that would offer in America. And they were saying that, because I'm not a big abortion guy. I think every woman should make her own decision about her body. But personally, I would never have a hard time aborting a baby syndrome. I would have a hard time doing that.
You have a tough time aborting a party. How could you do it to a person?
Tell me about it. And then I said to Leanne, I said to Leanne one night over wine, I said, one of the things that stresses a parent out is when I pass away, what's going to happen to my child? He's dependent on me. And so I said, oh my God, immediately. I was like, let's hire someone with Down syndrome. Like, let's hire an adult Down syndrome. And by the way, that's all I was trying to say in this conference call was like, we'd actually talked about hiring someone with Down syndrome. And then she just starts going off to the side in a fucking Zoom. I go, what the fuck are you doing? And she goes, I don't know what he's talking about right now. And I go, hold on. She goes, yeah, but we're not going to do it. And I go, that's not my point. My point was that we talked about it. She goes, oh, we talked about it. And I go, then don't fucking shake your head like you're a hostage going, I'm actually not being treated that well. I go, what the fuck? I'm having so many issues with my wife right now where I go, don't do this shit. Like, you know what it is I haven't drank. I drank like, I think twice maybe in December.
Wow.
I drank. I definitely, I don't count the night before, but I drank once with my dad. And then, so maybe 3 times in December and then none in January so far. And I think because I'm sober, it's almost like dealing with someone that she's never been married to. Like someone who's like holding everyone accountable for stuff. Normally it's like, I'm just going like, I'm sorry, everybody, I fucked up. And I like left and fucking right. It's so interesting. But
things are just heightened a little bit more. You do look more svelte, by the way, in the face. I've noticed that from your gram and even right now, dude. So keep on it.
I will say this about look like a bloated, drunken sailor.
I mean, you always, I don't know, man. You keep it together, but recently you're really looking chiseled in that department. I will say this about Leanne and I. What I do dig is, and maybe you can give me some tips because, my girl is just the best, and I feel like I lucked out because of the acceptance and support for what like I'm doing. Like even this, my mic I left in the car, and my computer was being all fritzy with the whatever. She fucking pulled out her shit, set up the laptop, set up my light, pulled up the thing, and it's just like tell Bert hi, and just killing it, and so fun and sweet. Loves comedy, is now in the business, and little, tips, but we're here and there, but get through them. So hearing these things, and you guys crush it, with everything going on, to see like how much you guys love each other and the support system. It's like, man, it feels like that is so integral to the whole beast, right? Like it's, and so I feel lucky in that department. But so give me maybe some tips as things progress. When does it get like, obviously kids probably shake things up a little bit, but I feel like you guys have crushed that 10 times over. So like, is it like always like maybe having a day or night or like a vacay or something? How do you like balance out all the nonstopness that's going on with you guys?
I honestly think, I mean, there's, the one thing I know for a fact is that, this is so stupid, and of course everyone's going to go, yeah, obviously, but we genuinely make each other laugh when we're not supposed to make each other laugh.
Yes.
Like even in me getting mad at her, we're on a Zoom, and I still was laughing at her, and I was like, what fucking, like, how mad would she be if she started telling a story and I just started going,
dude,
I go, why would you do that? And then she's laughing at me in the kitchen. She goes, so I didn't know what you were going to say. And I said, but a lot of people don't hear people and then just go, no. Like, whatever it is, like the other day, I dropped my glasses behind the bed and I reached under the bed and I couldn't reach them. Now, I knew if I got something to help me reach them, I could get them. But it's like 11.
By the way, it sounds like the opening for an infomercial for something that you need to get the glasses behind the bed.
Yeah.
I felt dropped behind the bed. I couldn't get them. So I pulled out. Hey, has this happened to you? Get the fucking glasses behind the bed stick. We're working on the title.
So I go to the living room and I go, she's still up. We've been watching The Queen and I'm going to read. She likes to be alone and just read. So I go out and I go, hey, babe. I go, listen, my glasses fell behind the bed and I tried to reach them, but I figured with your little body, maybe you could reach back. And she stood up and started laughing at me, like going, but it was I've never seen someone laugh like this. Yeah. Every time she saw me, it would make her laugh harder. And she was going like, ah, ah. And so the next morning we find out our dog has a yeast infection.
Oh God.
She goes, hey, just giving you a heads up. the doctor says we got to spray vinegar on our dog's vagina and rub it in. And I figured with your little body, and I started crying, fucking laughing, going, I'm definitely not doing that. My glasses are still behind the bed. You're spraying vinegar on the dog's pussy. You can suck it. I think honestly, I don't, this is going to sound very callous and crass, but like,
Sure.
and it's going to sound mean, but like, I don't look at her like she doesn't look like when I met her, right? Like she's gotten older. She's 50 years old, but I don't look at her as old. Like I don't see her as old. I look at Prince Philip.
Man.
I look at Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth, and I go, I wonder if Prince Philip looks at her and he's like, I couldn't fuck that, right? Like that's not the girl I married. But then I'm looking at Leanne going like, I would love to crush that. Like I don't see her as getting older.
That's awesome.
And I go, is that like, does that like, and by the way, and nothing wrong with like porn stars and like beautiful women and stuff. But like, I don't know, man, for whatever it is, it's almost like getting blinders on with her. I just go, I wish I could wrap my head around it. We make each other laugh. And I'll tell you my one secret that I did that I was very cognizant of. And it happened on a podcast. We did a podcast with this guy, Javier, I think was his name. And
Bardem?
No, dude, he is such a good actor.
So good.
So fucking good. I just watched
No
Country for Old Men the other day.
Oh my God.
Twice in a day. I watched it twice in a day. Twice.
Anything new that you found the second time around?
Yeah. This story is not about Javier and Josh Brolin. It's about Tommy Lee Jones. The whole title, No Country for Old Men, means life is changing. The world is changing. You can't stop it, and you're not going to be able to affect that change. You might as well just fucking die. Like my daddy had a horn full of what, like they used to. Tommy Lee Jones is so fucking good in this movie.
Yeah, he's
so
unreal.
Fucking good. Anyway, my point is, I did this podcast with this guy. I don't know, his name's not Javier now that I think about it, but something like that.
Yeah.
And I started trying to match her support for me. So I was like, she's super supportive of me. Even when I failed a million times, she still was like, believed in me when I definitely didn't believe in myself. Like I keep saying to her, can you believe that this worked out? And she's like, yeah, I always knew it was going to work out. And I was like, I didn't. I was like, I thought I'd be working for Animal Planet until I was fucking 60. And she was like, and so I got her a podcast, meaning like, no, I didn't get it for her, but I made it happen. I forced her into her own creativity. I said, you're doing a podcast. And then I said, anytime she said she had an idea, I want to go back to UCLA, I want to do some writing classes, I would just force her into it and go, you have to do that. Cool. Like, I think for Leanne, I can only speak for Leanne, but like matching her support for me was super important for our relationship because it made her feel,
part of the team.
Yeah, and that it wasn't just the Bert Kreischer show. And because me and you, I won't speak for me and you. I'll say me, I can make it. I can steal everyone's thunder and make the party about me. Yes. I even if I go into the fucking back room at the Comedy Store, I've had people say to me, yeah, that's great. We were having a conversation, and then I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. I just walked in the room. I thought I'd be a fucking tornado and then roll out. But so I think that was a big shift in our relationship, was like me starting to support her. Was like,
now, how did she? That's great advice, by the way, and I appreciate that. How did she feel? Because I tagged you in this video when my girl set up another great thing. I just got back from Australia, and she was trying to think of something fun to do. We got back before we took off out of town that we could do that was like outdoors, and so that's when she set up and surprised me. Got a little stony baloney and drove through the winter wonderland, and then saw your fucking 360-degree fucking body. And we were losing it. And I was like, dude, this is, I don't know why, but certain things that are unexpectedly awesome like that trump any special or show or cereal or shoe or anything that you ever have done or do. To me in that moment, I was like, he made it.
Dude, we had that same experience, except not high. We were with the girls. Oh. And I was so excited to see myself, and my girls could not give a fuck.
Oh, really? I feel
were
like it's
just
such
like-
a. Oh yeah.
They just were like,
Well, they've just
"Oh,
seen so
cool."
much dope shit, man. They're just,
I sent, we do this thing with I can't say her name out loud because it fucks up everything, but Alexa, we do this thing where we ask her to make announcements in the room. And so
Amazing.
if you do an announcement, it goes to all the rooms, and then we all start announcing back and forth to each other. It is fucking hilarious, right?
That's brilliant.
So we do, you say, Alex, go make an announcement. And I said, this morning, I said, I have a TV show premiering tonight at 9:00, 8 Central. I expect everyone to be fancy dressed in the living room for my premiere. And then Georgia said back, same next announcement, we've been doing this since I was 7. I'll wear whatever I want to wear. And I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot, man. Like the first TV show I ever did was like, they've been doing this for 10 years.
Wow.
They don't really give up. Like for them, TBS means nothing compared to Travel Channel. They don't have a perspective. They've
Right.
never been TV people. Like they still don't watch TV. They watch Netflix and
Yeah.
they don't, like. So I'm just there. It's interesting how
Desensitized.
little my kids give a fuck. But
The show looks dope, man. And
it was a fun show to shoot.
yeah, it looks big, and I don't know, you got a great slew of people alongside you. Is Snoop and you've probably stop me if you've talked about Snoop too much, but I've just seen other friends kick it with them. I've heard weed smoking stories with him, but like you and him together makes me so happy. And when and if you you bring Something's Burning back, which when and if you do, please have Brad and I back so he can fall off the stool again. That clip still, by the way, gets sent to me probably 3 times a week.
That was one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. Is that for real? That was so fucking great. Yeah, we're bringing Something's Burning back is coming back after pandemic because it's got to be in person.
Yes, it has to be.
But Snoop, I couldn't
Snoop getting on that with you would be unreal, by the way. I mean,
because I never have to share a joint with him because it was. By the way, I don't even know if Snoop shares joints. I think he just smokes them by himself. But
probably
in the pandemic, we were so locked down that there was like he would just give you blunts. Like he would give me blunts and be like, "There you go." And then I found out his blunts are like $75. They're not cheap. They're like a gram of weed.
Yeah.
Like I smoked one time and was after the first hit was clearing debris out of my mouth. Like I was a fucking first responder at 9/11. Like they're fucking strong. He was one. So this is my favorite Snoop story. I haven't told it. I don't think on this podcast, but I told it a little bit on like doing press, and it just showed up on accident. But so I really wanted to have my moment. I wanted to hang with him. Like I really did. And I didn't say it out loud. I didn't tell him. I just wanted to hang out with him because he knows this now, but I'm like a really big fan. I've always been a big fan.
Yeah.
I told him the first time, and I'd let that, I was very concerned about trying to get him to like me. I was like, he's not going to like me. And Segura was like, dude, don't force it. Don't try it. Don't overthink it. Be yourself. Be yourself 100%. If you think ripping your shirt off and being a fucking chugging a beer in front of him then do it. But be yourself. Because he kept saying, who you are is who we like. But when you start to manufacture who Bert is, that's when people can sniff it out. And I was like, well, I don't want to do the wrong thing. He goes, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. So I played it cool. Like I met him and we had Red Grant we had in common. And so he FaceTimed Red Grant the first night we hung out. Red was like, oh, his shirt should be off. And then I was like, all right, we're good. And so then slowly I'd start letting him know that I was a fan. We'd talk about music. We'd talk about stuff. But I wanted to have my moment where I hung out with him one night, just kind of partied with him a little bit.
Yes.
And so one night we're getting done. We've been shooting late and we're going back to our trailers. Our trailers were like in a cluster in the parking lot outside the Civic Center in Macon. And he gets into his trailer. Mine's a little further away. And he yells over. He's like, yo, Bert. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, come on over. You want to take a shower? And I was like, huh? He's like, come on over. Let's take a shower. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, my shirt's already off because the second we got done, I'd take my shirt off and be shirtless.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know if that's code for something. Like,
Or if he just really wants to get clean.
I haven't listened to any of his latest albums, and I'm like, I wonder if like, okay. So I go over, and his bodyguards are there, and I'm like, hey, Snoop wants me to come in and take a shower, and they're like, oh yeah. You just open the door, and I'm like, okay. So I go in, and Snoop's sitting in his kitchen, like in his kitchen in his trailer with his hands on the table, and he's like, yo, what's up? I said nothing. He goes, Big Bert, and I'm like, Snoop Dogg. And he's like, so you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, let's take a shower. And he was like, what? I said, you called me over here to take a shower, right? And he said, no. I said, let's take a shot. And I went, oh, I thought you said shower. And Adam, he freezes and he goes, you thought I asked you to take a shower and you came over anyway? And I'm just like, I'm a really big fan, man. I figured, fuck it, let's shower. It's a story either way. I need my story, Snoop. And I was like, fuck it. Fuck it. And so we ended up taking shots and then
a shower. And then he goes, fuck it, man.
Smoking cigars. We go to Cody Rhodes' trailer. We FaceTime with Dave Chappelle. It was like the craziest fucking night.
Oh my God, dude.
And you forget, you're talking to Snoop, you forget we're talking the straight up lineage. The guy's history is one thing. His catalog's one thing.
I know.
You also remember, this guy's a fucking multi-millionaire who was succeeded on many platforms.
Yeah.
And I geeked out, man. It's like when I first met Rogan, I told Rogan this. I was like, now that I know Joe as I do, I know there's Joe would be shake his head at this, but like there's a certain way you don't approach Joe because it just is it. There's a certain way to turn Joe off. I think if I'm speaking as a friend and having watched a million people do it,
yeah,
a million people do it to him and watch him shut down and freeze and be like, okay, and walk away.
Yeah.
And I completely did that to him when I met him. I mean, I walked up.
What is that? Like, arm around him? Like,
no. Well, it's changed a bunch, obviously.
Back rub, ask him to take a shower. What is it?
I'll tell you the one. No, I walked into his house and I was like, I went through this back when we did the podcast at his house, and he opened the door and he's like, what's up? And I was like, hey man, big fan. I go, real quick, I need to see your dog. I need to see your pool table. I need to see your deprivation tank. I need to get high, and then we can do the podcast. I'm going to have to geek out a little bit. And he was like, okay. And he took me. We went and looked at his dogs. Walked me around his house.
That's
right. Down to his deprivation tank, went back up, sat in his backyard, smoked a joint. Red Band showed up, did the podcast, and I've been friends with him ever since. But I now know that, like, Joe definitely doesn't want to hear that you're a big fan. He definitely does. Like
treat him like a dude.
Yeah, he just wants to be. I mean, I've seen people. Where you're just sitting there next to man. You're sitting there next to Segura, watching someone we know, like we know these people. Like I could go give you a name of 5 people right now where you'd go, I want to hear that story and watch it explode. I've seen them happen so poorly where you go, hey man, do you have no social
tact
at all? Where you just go, clearly the man is in a private conversation.
Oh God. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Oh man. Yeah.
And it sounds silly, very silly, because Joe is obviously a fucking black belt and everything, but like you get very protective of him. And like as a friend, you see it so often where sometimes the attackers come in from the left and they miss their target and Joe walks away, but you're sitting there going, hey man, they're like, I know you're talking to Joe, you're friends with Joe. Do you think you can get me to do his podcast? And by the way, I've seen the wolves come in and latch on, and maybe Joe didn't notice it, and you want to go like, hey, just give me a heads up. That guy's a fucking. But then you go, hey man, Joe's his own man. He's a grown up. Like,
him and DeVine do the same thing where they're just such nice guys that they want to give people their moments and they want to be respectful and whatever. But then there is a tolerance and a threshold to a certain point to where they almost kind of look at the person in a way, at least from what I've seen, of like, hey man, we chatted for 5 minutes, like read the room, like see that there's other people around. I'm doing my thing. Like I was generous and kind of kicked it for a second, but like it's, move on. Like come in for a second now. Don't stick around now. Try to get my number and hey, you want to go to Mel's Diner later? Like I'll buy you a shake. Want to take a shower? Real quick, that Snoop thing, that is so funny and so insane. And by the way, if you were to poll 98% of dudes, they all would have done the same thing. So
yeah,
that for him to be surprised by that is very funny, but also I just don't. I mean, I love that you were just like, "Fuck it, man!" Like like it's for the show.
I'll shower with them.
Maybe it's a story we can talk about during press. I'll shower with them. And then you probably in your head. I mean, you're like, "I'll keep my swim trunks on. He can take his off." Like I don't know, like or vice versa.
I don't know, man. Maybe he wants me to watch him shower. Like I know that there's that old school thing. I'm cool with it. I'm cool. There was so many funny. There was like a big. There's a picture out there. I don't know where it is. It was this. We shot that show during all of what was going on socially in America,
That's
and
cool.
Black Lives Matters was a big thing. And one time they were doing a big picture. It was all the black people on set. Snoop, my friend Candace is organizing it, and she's like, they got like big Black Lives Matter signs, and it's all black people, and they're like, and someone's like, Bert, come on in, and I was like, oh, I'm good, and they're like, what? And I was like, okay, I'm in, and but I was like, hey guys, I don't know if you want me ruining your picture, or like, I don't know if this is gonna stand out. I say a lot of unsavory things on stage, like I go, I just want to give you the out to like say, I don't need to be in this picture. Like there was so many fucking.
Think about if this is what you want.
Yeah, think about it real quick. Do you want to check out Hey Big Boy? Because after there's a joke about 13 minutes in that you might go, oh. It's funny because, someone said, do you want to do a season 2? And I said, I do. I definitely do. I would 100% want to do it. However, the way we did it this year was in a bubble, in a Macon. And as you know, a bubble is so fucking safe. It's so fun because it's just your people.
Yeah.
And it's like there is no other experience. What was that like when you shot The Rock's show?
Oh man, quarantine for 2 weeks. So landed, flew to New Zealand, and flew to Brisbane, and literally got to the hotel. They, gave me a beat to smell like get your ass sucks in.
I lost you.
So flew from LA to New Zealand, New Zealand to Brisbane, and then you get on the street right outside the hotel, and they just kind of gave me a beat to get one last whiff of fresh air. I had a little balcony, and then they took me upstairs. 24-hour security. I was the last one to quarantine for the season, and so you could have food and booze delivered if you wanted. I didn't pick up on that until like day 5, and so I just like have like almonds and fucking a loaf of bread that definitely had been there from someone else's quarantine. And so I was just like, just scrounging it. And then I brought some like Nutri-Grain bars and some other shit that were in my suitcase. So I was literally like, strawberry Nutri-Grain dinner again. And then just being alone by yourself. I gotta be honest.
You did 14 days?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you do to work out? Did they let you into the gym?
No. So they brought me. I asked them. I was like, "Can you get me weights? Can you get me a medicine ball? Can you get me? Can you get me a Peloton? Can you get me the Rock's schedule or Mark Wahlberg himself or a cutout of him that I can work out with?" And they were like, "We can't get you any of that. What we can't get you is an exercise bike from 1985." So they brought up this bike that at least had the shoes to plug into, and so I did the bike. And I've never been a bike. I'm like a stair stepper guy, which by the way, when I first started doing the stair stepper and told that to a girlfriend of mine in college, she was like, "It's so gay." And I go, "What?" And then to her, I go, "It's not like I'm doing it like this." Like while I'm taking steps. And she didn't laugh at that. And I was like, all right, that was me trying to make a joke and to be self-deprecating about the thing. But so the bike took a minute to get used to, but so I could break a sweat that way, and then had weights. And then who I'm playing, I can't say yet, but he's pretty beefed up. And so I had to kind of really do that a little bit more. If in later seasons, I'll probably have to really think about, who knows, man, maybe shooting up some areas, but but it wasn't terrible. So, but having a workout thing, I love that you asked that, because that was, that was insane. Like I had to have something to break a sweat. I had a lot, I did all of my voiceover stuff remotely, self-tape auditions, podcasting, the schedule was whatever, but had a balcony. Here's the great thing. The Rock sent me a bottle of tequila, which I just assumed like on day 4 of his Terramana. And I was like, fucking what a sweet thing. It was like, welcome me to the show. And so I'm thinking, it's probably what he does for everybody. So once I get out, I had this little balcony. I was having cocktails out there, FaceTime with people. Just to be outside for a little bit was great, Bert. Like if I didn't have an ability to get any fresh air, I probably would have gone a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? Because the inside by yourself, we've done it for years. You get used to it. You know how to make a schedule for yourself and be busy so that you aren't waking up being like, all right, I guess I'll brush my teeth and then stare out the window again and contemplate jumping. So it was like I get out and I'm talking to some cast members and I was like, dude, man, how great was that tequila that The Rock sent? This one guy I was talking to is a pretty healthy part on the show. He goes, I didn't get tequila. And then I go, well, at least we had that balcony to get some fresh air. He goes, balcony? I go, oh, fuck. I guess, some of the rooms were different. I go, and then I was like, I got the last room. It was whatever, they probably, but I don't know. It wasn't, the whole experience was not as bad as it probably could have been. Getting out, which is why in this first season, I only shot about 3 days in the 3 weeks I was there when I got out. So, man, I did stand up. I did 3 to 4 shows every night. I met a couple local comics. Ronnie Chang is on the show too. And he told me, hooked me up with some people because he lived out in Australia for a long time. And I met a few comics and then just was in the scene, dude. And I was doing shows every night, because I could, and I could be outside. I went to a rugby game. I was fucking, I was just soaking it up. But the doing shows out there was a big blessing. And
I'm trying to write a joke about Ronnie Chang's right now. Hold on one second. Hang on one second. I have the name on the tip of my tongue.
Please.
God damn it. Hang on.
Oh, no.
God fucking. Hold on one second. God damn it, Bert. I wish I was smarter than this.
Can we edit it? Can we edit it in and post after the show?
Yeah, hold on. God. Did Ronnie Chang play Mr. Fuji? Mr. Fuji was like the fucking wrestler in the 80s. Do you remember him?
No.
He was a rip off of all the James Bond characters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was back when you could only play. What's interesting about this already that I'm fascinated by about this TV movie or TV show?
TV show, yeah, for NBC, yeah.
TV show is, obviously The Rock he has connections as a young man to all the fucking wrestlers that I grew up watching.
Yeah, his pops was a wrestler. That's why he was around all that. He was almost like the way Paulie was around the Comedy Store with Mitzi and just having all these older guys become buddies and family to him,
Oh, I didn't think I was a wrestling fan at all. Like I was like, yeah, I don't watch it. I didn't realize I know a lot about it. I know awesome. Great deal about wrestling just by growing up in Florida. Like growing up in Florida, know everything about wrestling.
That's awesome. But you're going to geek out then.
So Mr. Fuji was back then you were allowed like one Russian, one Iranian, like a lunatic Muslim, one black guy, but he had to have an animal with him. Where's
your cougar, Darius?
This podcast is brought to you by Ketum Superior Kratom. This is a podcast sponsor I asked for. I think I asked for it on Two Bears, One Cave or on this, and they showed up. They hit me up, and I'm super excited. I have not used it yet. I'm going to use it with Tom, I think, tomorrow morning together. I think we're going to use it on Two Bears, One Cave. I am so excited. They just shipped me a bunch. Here's what you need to know. Ketum Superior Kratom offers potent lab-tested kratom at affordable price. What is kratom? Kratom is a powder that in a low dose can make your day energetic and fruitful. Kratom types are generally divided into 3 different colors: red, white, green vein strains. Different kratom colors have different kratom effects. Each effect can be beneficial for, and here's what it's good for: mild pain reduction, depression, energy and focus, relaxation, anxiety, diabetes is the only one I don't have on here, and mild withdrawal symptoms. And by the way, I might have diabetes. I don't even know. Kedem Kratom is shipped to their facility where they craft their Kratom products to perfection. Kedem's quality and safety standards are a top priority, enhancing health and well-being of their customers across the nations. Kedem offers 25 Kratom strands, Kratom extracts, tablets, capsules, and liquid tinctures shipped from their GMP-compliant facility in beautiful Los Angeles, California. It is sitting on my counter. I'm taking it to Two Bears, One Cave tomorrow. I am so fucking excited. I have another friend who's been using it, and he swears by it. He does it like he starts off his podcast with it. I won't say his name, but you know who the fuck this is. Check out Kedem at www.shopkedem.com and use the promo code Big Bert for 20% off all Kedem products. That's Big Bert for 20% off all Kedem products at www.shopkedem.com. So wait, I'm fascinated by your quarantine because my quarantine. So you did 14 days quarantine, and then they let you go out and do stuff.
Yes. So once you're out, I mean, dude, no mask, living and breathing.
Oh, because they were at like 0%.
Their cases were very low, so they were pretty much back to easy living, and it was like bars were pretty much. I think the Tuesday after I left, everything opened to full capacity. But at the rugby game, they were handing out masks. Nobody wore them, and it was like the game I went to was like Australia versus New Zealand, which was like a Super Bowl type match for them, I guess. And the stadium was packed, and just being at a sporting event, dude, was unbelievable. All the chants, the screaming.
I can only imagine.
Dude, Bert, I can't even tell you it. I mean, afterwards, I was like, rugby's my favorite sport. And it is fun to watch. And it was exciting. And this guy who was on the show only for, I think, one day hit me up. He's like, yeah, my cousin plays on the team. I saw you're out here on the show. Do you want to just, I thought you might want to do something like this. And I seats 4 rows back, center, midfield. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. So I bought drinks because I was like, what a cool thing for him just to reach out. He just doesn't know me, saw him on the out here for the show and was like, do you want to come? I figure you're probably bored. But just being around the sport, the stadium environment, dude, and every part of it. It's almost like with comedy, like you're like, oh, I missed the little traveling things, or I missed the green room thing, all the things that maybe were kind of, getting in the way of what you're doing. I was just like, waiting in line for a beer or any, the bathroom. I was just like, man, I can't wait just to pee next to somebody. Like I just, I can't wait to.
Nice dude, look at your dick. Oh, this is awesome. Guy's like, all right, Mike. So we did quarantine for 5 days.
Okay.
We didn't do 14.
Yeah.
We did 5 days, and then
that's doable.
But man, no, it wasn't. I had a really hard time with it, and we were allowed. So when you say 14 days, I would have had a gun in my mouth.
We got dark for a minute. I went down a lot of YouTube rabbit holes of like soldiers coming home early to surprise their kids, and then animal attack videos just to balance out the tears. Like I started watching every wrestler who had killed himself.
I watched all their videos. Anyone who had died. Like I didn't drink for like the first. I want to say like the first 10 days we were in quarantine. I didn't drink. But I didn't drink the first 5 in, but was gobbling up Xanax. I was like, I'd get out. You were allowed to go walk in the parking lot. So I would walk this loop in the parking lot that was like 1.5 miles, and I would just do it until the sunset and just walk like a fucking crazy dog. And then I was like, and then I'd have panic set in. I was like, so I guess I'll just go sit in a room, and I just eat a Xanax, pass out, and then
wake up, do it again.
And then wake up, do it again. But my bus driver, Ron, took me into quarantine. And I don't know. I'm just saying, I think Ron would say the same thing. I think Ron's had a brother or two in prison, and he knew how to send someone into prison. Me and him went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and he was like, I'm going to get you a racquetball. You can throw it against the wall. I'm going to get you need a yoga mat. You need some free weights. You need and we just bought everything in Dick's. So I had 2 rooms. I had my room and then the room,
a workout room.
And so I just filled that one with everything. And Snoop gave me this boombox. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. That boombox.
Holy shit! You got a Snoop box?
Yeah, and so he gave us that. So we had that. He left anytime you wanted his wine or his gin. All you had to do was just be like, "Hey man, you got any wine?" And they just drop wine over your house. And we were on. Did you guys have a meal plan?
No, we had you had a cards to like a per diem to get. So basically, once I figured out I could Uber Eats, I'd use the per diem to order some stuff.
All our stuff was in like meal delivery, and my cousin signed me up for pescatarian. So all of a sudden, like first 5 days, I'm like down like 10 pounds. And
Just
I'm
eating
feeling
incredibly healthy, right?
Eating incredibly healthy. And then I'm bored. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll do kettlebell swings in the next room and listen to a podcast. Wow. And I didn't drink. It wasn't until Snoop and I showered together that I drank for the first night. And then once I drank that night, the wheels were off.
I know, man.
Snoop started hooking me up with blunts. And I was like, I will slowly work my way through a blunt the way a Finnish guy will work himself through a tree. Have you ever seen a Finnish guy? They put the tree in the fire and then just start pushing it until it burns the whole thing. I was like, fuck it.
So you were all on board, and then once you had you were like, pescatarian tofu's good, but also Pop-Tarts dipped in Cool Whip could really go down smooth right now.
Oh no! One day I'm walking by Snoop's trailer and I go, "What's for lunch today, guys?" And they're like, "Who gives a fuck?" And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Who gives a fuck? What's for lunch?" They're like, "We're eating oxtails today." I was like, "What?" And they're like, "We order oxtails they ordered out of this soul restaurant every day." And I went, "Hey, wait, I like oxtails." And they're like, "You want some?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right." And so I get back and there's a fucking platter of oxtails I go, "What the fuck? Is this how you've been eating every day?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're not eating that fish bullshit. We eat like this every day." And then I started going, "I can order out." And they're like, "You're one of the 5 stars of the show. Like, you're the only person who could." I was like, oh my God. I started getting so much shit. I was like, I want 9 boxes from Zaxby's. I want.
Oh my God.
Let's do cheeseburgers from McDonald's today. I started fucking my body up towards the end of that show.
Yeah.
In the finale, I look like a fucking balloon.
Did you in Australia too? There's huge dudes. I just thought like Hemsworth was maybe the only huge dude.
Oh, no.
There was a guy who came up to me after the second show I did. He's in the front. He's a huge guy, like probably 6'7", and just jacked. He looks like he could beat up Hemsworth. He's huge, and everyone's going in on him. And I just like didn't. And then afterwards, he comes up and he's hammered, and he's like, "Mate," he's like, "You're my favorite comedian in the whole world." And I was like, "Well, I definitely have not seen a lot of comedy." I was like, "But I'll take that compliment tonight because I just got out of quarantine and I am just looking for compliments right now." Yeah. And he goes, he's like, "I'm buying you shots." I was like, "You said plural." He's like, "We're doing all of them." I was like, "How many is that?" So then he's in my face. He's wearing a Michael Jordan jersey. We start talking hoops, talking comedy a little bit. He goes, "My name's Huge." I go, "What?" He goes, "Well, my name's Eugene, but on Instagram I'm huge." And I'm like, "Okay." And then he. I go, "You look like you eat owls." And he goes, "Mate," he goes, "Do you want to do a rack later?" And I'm thinking rack means pool, right? So I'm like, I lean in and I go, "Fuck yeah." And then he goes, or I go rack. I go, "Oh, dude, I'd love to." And then he just goes, "Fuck yeah." And the way he responded to that, I was like, I don't think he means pool. Because he like leaned in, started grinding his teeth, and like his eyes got wide. And I was like, I think this guy means.
Is this huge?
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. The power of the internet. That's amazing, dude.
6'7"?
Is that what it says?
6'7", 137 kilograms.
Oh, I thought you were about to say pounds. I was like, that's not right.
But yeah, that's not right. I'll give him a follow for sure.
Yeah. Like, dude,
that's
his videos. He. So I'm like, "Oh, I thought you meant." I go, "You don't mean pool?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, I should have guessed that by you doing that back and forth as you said rack. He's like, I was like, "Oh yeah, man. Hey, I'm Stripes." He's like, "We're both Stripes." and so then he was gonna come to another show, and he literally sends me a DM. He goes, "Sorry, bro. Had some mates over. One of them was hitting on my girl. He threw a chair at me, so I threw him through the wall. Now the wall guy's here, and the cops are on their way." He goes, "Rain check?" I was like, if there's ever a time for a rain check, I go, first of all, he was just so matter of fact about like, guy hit me with a chair. I put him through the wall, yada, yada, yada. Wall guy's here.
I am picture a road trip with you, huge, and Dirte, and me.
Let's call Disney Plus right now. Get them on the phone.
Wait, why did you guys shoot in Australia?
Because I think when the show I think was getting into production, I think was about probably February or March, and I found out, by the way, while I was on the toilet at the Chappelle camp. I went out there for
oh yeah, I saw you in the Chappelle camp.
Oh yeah.
How was that? How did that work out?
So his tour manager is a really good buddy of mine, and Jaleel White's a good buddy of mine, and Jaleel knows Dave and Dave's tour manager as well, and Donnell and all those guys. And Jaleel just hit me up and he was like, "Yo, you looking at seeing the Chappelle camp thing?" I was like, "Yeah, it's insane." And I've been texting with Dave's guy and Jaleel was like, "We should see about trying to go out there." And I was like, "Yeah." And so I asked Cena, and he was like, "Yes." He's like, "Here's where to come. Here's where to go." And so we went out. We found that weekend and went out, and it was bonkers, dude. It was. We get there. It's truly a summer camp. Like every weekend, there were different people coming through. Like our weekend was, Tiffany, Sarah Silverman, Louie, Donnell, Michelle Wolf, and Mo Amer were always there. And then, so it was stacked. And then John Mayer was on that Saturday. Get in. We immediately go to this restaurant to do a dinner. And I'm like trying to find my time. Like I brought Dave up on shows at the store. I've smoked blunts with him in the back of the store, but I just, I don't assume someone remembers. He meets so many people. I'm there, but I know Jaleel and Dave's guy and Tiff, and seeing Commons just lighting incense, just like we'd be in a mid conversation and he would just spark up incense. And I was like, man, that is some cool ass shit for you just to start lighting a piece of wood and waving it around like this just to get incense going. He's like, "Hey man, he's like, good sense, good vibes." I was like, see, I couldn't even say that after someone called me out for burning wood spontaneously. So then I see Dave and I introduce myself, whatever. The whole time, dude, went out of his way to chum me up. When I found out I got the part from the show, I told my buddy, Dave's tour manager. He told Dave. Dave came up to me on that last night, the day I found out, gave me a big hug and told me how pumped he was for me, and just was so generous and attentive and kind. And it's like, even if I said something and he didn't couldn't engage fully, he'd comment on it, whatever, open it up to the group, and then if he had to bounce out, would bounce out. But really took time to chum it up. But the first night, I thought I was going to get kicked out because we went to this restaurant for this little dinner, and I'm just feeling good. When you get somewhere and you're feeling rested, you're feeling good. What's at stake for the whole weekend. You're like, this is going to be. I'm not going to have to shower with anybody to get to get into the party, and I'm just hanging out. And so Tiff starts smoking a joint, and then Jaleel had brought some stuff, and somebody else. So by 9:30, Bert, I'm high as balls at this dinner that there's probably 60 people at. It's all the people at the camp, the photographer, Dave's family, everyone, Donnell, everyone's there. And I'm definitely the new guy with Jaleel this weekend, maybe a couple other people. And there's this standing ice bucket, right? The standing ice bucket that is that just you can just scoop it right at wait. Start leaning on it, right? Dave, before the party's really going to get crazy, everyone's already pretty fucked up. Dave goes, "Hey, I just want to say something real quick." He's like, "Hey, everybody. So obviously we got another great weekend coming up, this and that." But
wait, I lost you. Hold on.
Oh shit.
Hold on. I lost you. Oh, Hold on. Go back to Dave. Dave made a statement. All right, we got a great weekend coming up.
Okay. So am I good? Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Dave gets everybody together and he goes, "Hey, I just want to say something real quick. Everybody got another great weekend. Chappelle summer camp. We got all this." And he's like getting real heartfelt. And I'm again high as balls. I had just been standing, by the way, by myself so high that I don't think I could really talk. And I was just kind of watching. So at one point I remember I just was staring at Common. And then he looked over at me, saw me staring at him, and he just locked eyes and he goes, and I was like, just gave him a thumbs up.
Incense. My brother-in-law's a rapper.
I get it.
You make sense. Common.
You make incense, some would say.
Guys, hey guys, look at common incense over here. Oh,
so I'm standing there. He gives me a look, was super kind to not make it weird that I was just staring stony at him. And then Dave gets everyone quiet and is getting real heartfelt. And I'm leaning on the ice, the standing ice thing. And Bert, out of a fucking Chevy Chase movie, I'm like feeling the moment. And I'm just like, I need to lean on something. And I just gonna push my hand on it and just go, Zhunk, and just go, dude. And dude, dead quiet in a room that's the size of the belly room at the Comedy Store. And it's dead quiet as Dave had just gotten everyone to be quiet and said a heartfelt moment. I fall, bucket of ice. Have you heard a bucket of ice that's 4 feet off the ground fall onto the ground? It's loud as fuck. So it all falls down. I'm the new guy. And Dave just goes, the seas part so that I'm entirely visible. And Dave just goes, well, new guy. And then I stand up and I go, it's all good. It's all good. We'll get some more ice. Dave, back to you. And he goes, oh man. He goes, somebody get that guy a towel. And then said something else and then got right back into it. And Jaleel just looks to me and he goes, dude, the fuck, man, keep
fucking
it
white
together.
guys. Fucking white guys.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
That's fucking great.
But it was
when's the new series air?
So the rock show February. I'm not sure if it's. I just tried to look up a premiere date yesterday. I feel like it's around the Super Bowl, but it's sometime in February. And then if there's one other thing I can plug real quick, I'm putting on this big show February 5th to all the proceeds go to Seattle food banks, and there's a couple that we're identifying that we're going to do specifically. I think Northwest Harvest and another one called Food Line, but. I'm doing a big virtual comedy show. The lineup is Dana Carvey, Joel McHale, Adam DeVine, Tom Lennon, my buddy Joey McIntyre from New Kids on the Block, Sue Bird, the Seattle Storm legend, Thomas Lennon, Eliza, and Ron Funches. And it's all virtual. It's going to be just a big Zoom comedy show, games, some stand-up, whatever. And it's February 5th at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'll be, hosting it, just doing this, but with all these people live and trying to make a bunch of money to give to all these food banks. Cause just came to my attention through a couple buddies that work in Seattle of just some of the hunger issues. And I just wanted to, got to a point where I was like, I want to take advantage of some of these cool people that I'm friends with and give back at some point. It would start off as just a stand-up show for myself. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stack the lineup. And yeah.
What a fucking lineup. What the fuck?
Yeah. Pretty crazy. And
where do they get tickets for it?
Oh, so tickets rushtix.com. It's the link's in my bio on Instagram, but rushtix.com. And then Adam Ray and Friends is the name of the show. But it's all of my Instagram and Twitter, and it's February 5th at 7 p.m. It'll be about a 2-hour show, and I mean, all those people, live. I mean, most of those people by themselves are really expensive tickets. So for $15 and it goes to charity, it's like fucking, it's insane,
How long, where are you guys at in the drive? You're in Sacramento?
We're in Sacramento right now, and just kind of
great taffy town. There's great taffy around there.
Oh, is Sac a taffy town?
Old Sac is all taffy.
I love that.
The shout out to Last Unlimited. I think they're still doing this. When COVID started, they did socially distant tables outdoors, right? And they gave everyone headsets. So as a comic, you talk directly into the ears of everybody, and you could trash people walking by, and it was fucking brilliant.
Dude, that's brilliant, actually.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you, one of the funnest times I've ever had, we had motorcycle helmets, me, Cowhead, Steve Byrne, Galvin, like the Cowhead show. You remember Cowhead show? It's now the Mike Calta show, but I've known him since he was Cowhead. And we had motorcycle helmets on in a bar in Ireland doing his radio show through the IFB, through the microphones there. And only we could hear each other. And I have never had more fun in my life because we kept them on after the show and kept drinking and trashing everyone. We were crying laughing crying with
amazing.
fucking helmets on. I think those motorcycle helmets.
Yeah. That's
but so then how far do you have to drive?
so then we'll go we'll kick it here to today and tonight, and then drive to Salem to see my dad tomorrow, which is about 8 hours. The drive is we did last night from LA to Sac, and it was mostly at night, and there was fog. I mean, crazy fog where you're going like 35, 40 and people are whizzing by you, and you're just fucking dry. I mean, I don't know what you just must be like, you know what, man, it's not worth it. Let's just drive into this fog and hopefully some Care Bears just fucking take us up into the sky. I don't know if you've ever been driving. The last time I was on the 5, by the way, no joke, was with Brad Williams, and we were driving back from, I think, Pleasantville, not Magoobies. What is it? What's up there? There's another club.
Oh God damn it! If you hadn't
Pleasantville, they've got like 3 locations up there. Fuck, it's a comedy club, and it's up there in NorCal. Fucking, what is it?
I did a weekend up there. Is that the one that's in Kirkland too?
I believe so. Fuck. Anyway, so we're driving back, and a PT Cruiser in front of Brad and I flips across the freeway, right into a ditch. We're driving, just talking about how crazy it is that Brad's able to reach the fucking pedal, and the car just flips across the freeway, 4 lanes into a ditch, and we're going still at like 65, and I just go, pull over. We pull over, we get out, we're like, what the fuck do we do? We see the car in the ditch. And just instinct, it was like something you saw that you're like, I can't just drive past this. So we get out, people start stopping. It's not too crazy busy. So I was like, Brad, I'm going to call the fucking 911, run across the street and see if they're okay. A, his phone was dead. My phone's all charged up. And B, I don't think anybody would disagree that seeing you run across the freeway right now is just going to boost everyone's mood. And so Brad runs across the freeway. And we see this gal come across in the driver's seat. She comes around to the back seat and immediately starts forward like, oh shit, there's a kid back there. So she opens up, she's starting to open up the back door to maybe see if this kid, after flipping across the freeway, has maybe, been dismembered. And here's the power of a dwarf running across the freeway. She's literally in a panic, screaming, someone in the front seat screaming. She comes out of the back seat. She's about to open the door like this. And she just looks and sees Brad coming towards her and just goes, and just stops and looks.
Wait, you cut out. I missed the fucking punchline.
Fuck.
You cut out. It literally went. By the way, I want everyone to steal
the punchline.
Clip. I want everyone to steal that clip and plug in whatever horrific words could have come out of this woman's mouth. Oh my God. I can't believe they stormed the Capitol. I predict. What did she say?
So she just opens the door and turns and does a double take, seeing Brad, and just was like, didn't say anything, but was like, that's not something you see every day, with her face basically saying her kid possibly could have been just detached from its body in the back seat, but Brad running across the freeway still caught her attention more than just trying to see it. Like, she kind of looked. Great. And then Brad started joking later. He was like, I was going to say that I was like the ghost of her child running towards her, but I thought that was too much.
I thought she was going to say, oh my God, what are you running across the street for? How did you get over there? Oh, wait, oh, you're someone else. My bad. And then Brad goes, if he's stuck, I can crawl into small spaces. Quick, inside the glove compartment. He's in there. Brad's like, good thing these little hands can get all the way in.
Oh, man. Brad once, we were sitting, he somehow won these courtside seats to a Laker game. And we're sitting there and I go, Brad, first of all, we got to go over a couple ground rules. I go, kiss cam? He goes, I'm in. I go, great. I go, because we are going to be courtside. I go, and now dance cam. I go, do we choreograph something? Do we just feel out the moment? He goes, feel out the moment. So guess what? Dance cam starts happening. Brad stands up. This is right after, by the way, we had vitamin waters in front of us. And Brad, all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and he just, with his feet, grabs the vitamin water and chucks it up to himself and catches it. And out of the corner of my eye, I just turn over and I go, what the fuck was that? I go, I've been friends with you for 10 plus years. I've never seen you toss a drink to yourself with your feet. And he's like, yeah, man, I got a lot of tricks nobody knows about. He goes, what did you want me to do? Get off the chair? That'll take 10 minutes.
Drink the water, wait till it sits, jump.
So the dance camp starts happening and Brad just goes crazy, gets out of his chair, goes crazy. And the whole Staples Center is just building with anticipation because everyone sees him and they haven't cut to him on the Jumbotron yet. Finally, they do. Bert, the place erupted like the Lakers won the championship. And Brad was a celebrity after. And it was all the sports outlets and Sports Center. And we had met Chris Pratt earlier that time. We had followed him into the bathroom to try to get him on the podcast. And Brad was at the urinal with him. And Pratt was using the little one. And Brad walks in and goes, "Just your luck. You're at the midget urinal." And a midget walks in. And Chris Pratt was like, starts laughing. Is like, "Holy shit." And then Chris Pratt, I guess, was like, "This is like one of those Southwest Airlines commercials," you know? And so then he was texting us like, "Holy shit, Brad's dancing was unbelievable." And everyone's hitting me up being like, "Dude, why were you just sitting there fist pumping behind Brad? Why weren't you getting up dancing too?" And I go, "Because nobody goes, 'Hey, who's that guy dancing behind the dancing dwarf?'" I go, "The only thing that trumps dancing dwarf is more dancing dwarf." But he was a rock star, dude. Everywhere we went afterwards, like out of Staples Center, it was probably the closest I'll ever be or experience to walking around with like a Beatle or Bieber or somebody that is just insane. Like everyone was like, "Hey man, saw you on the Jumbotron." And then also people were like, "Love your comedy, listen to you on cable," whatever, you know, and saw your special. But it was such great grassroots marketing for him just for a night, you know? But
well, dude, this has been a great podcast. I think we're at 2 hours now. So thank you.
Dude, bro, this rules, man. I think there are a lot of hearty laughs and a lot of fun stories, man. And Jesus, it's just good to see your face.
Dude, I enjoy the drive up. My daughters want to go so badly. They want to go up to Washington.
Oh, really?
They're like, "Let's just get a Winnebago and make a slow drive up and get a cabin up there." And I was like, Leanne has been a big stickler about following the rules. Like she's like, and I think everyone is, but it's like she's been a real stickler about like, because I was like, not to say that I'm very socially minded, but
yes, at
one point I was like, fuck it, I can't be in this house. Let's go to Colorado and go skiing for a month. Like we're gonna be here. Let's go to fucking Utah, go to Park City for a month. Yeah. We'll get an Airbnb. We'll just ski every day. And Leanne's like, "No, we're not doing it." She was like, "Our government said we need to stay at home. We need to stay at home." And then recently she was like, "Maybe if we can find a sensible road trip where we and Georgia wants to go to school go to college up north in like Washington or Oregon."
Oh, great. There's a lot of, I mean, dude, University of Washington is a great school, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, when and if you make that trip, by the way, driving up, it's a nice drive, and summertime for sure. There's so many great places to stop along the way, but when you do make that trip, and I know you've been to Washington a bunch, but I'll map out some cool shit for you. But
please, I'll hit, because Georgia wants to go to school up there. So I told her, I said, "Listen, can't get this through her head, but I'm like, I'm supportive of whatever you want, but I want to show you all of it. I want you to go." She hears that and goes, "Oh, you want to talk me out of it?" And I was like, "No, I want you to go up and go, oh, this is what a small school looks like up there. This is what a big school looks like."
Yep. You got both sides.
Yeah. Living in the city, like living out of the city, like it's gorgeous. I had to say, we had a college counselor conference.
There it is.
And I was like, I've been all over this country and I know how great that area of the country is. It is unmatchable. I mean, honestly.
Oh yeah. And they're keeping, like they're just about to, I'm supposed to be at Tacoma Comedy Club in February. And I'm hoping that the phase that it looks like they're about to enter will hold up so that I can do those shows. But it's better than LA. And again, just wanted to see fam and it's important.
Look, we toured across the country 4 times this quarantine during this pandemic,
man.
And I've never been safer. I've never been safer when you're with your people in your vehicle and your bubble, and you go into the hotel, out of the hotel, into the car, up to the thing. And like I said, we did this whole Christmas, a whole December and January. We've been quarantining with my family and then my sisters, and because my parents were out here.
Yeah,
and there is a safe way to do it. I mean, granted, trust me when I say there was a definite scare when I podcasted with Dr. Drew, and then he tested positive, I was like, "Oh fuck! I just killed my whole family."
Oh no!
Oh, I was terrified, man. It becomes very real. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and when I am that link. I lost my shit.
Fuck, dude.
We were fine.
Well-
I podcasted with him for, an hour and a half, and I guess I didn't get it.
That's great. And
Yeah.
I just feel like you're I don't know, man, your body's, I feel like there's nothing I feel like you could get COVID and gonorrhea and you'll just come out on top always.
Dude, on that podcast with Dr. Drew, I kept telling him, I'm indestructible.
You are,
I'm
dude.
indestructible.
You
and then
are,
all of a sudden, he calls the next day. He's like, I tested positive for COVID. We're going to test that out. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, God.
I was like, not today.
By the way, I got to say real quick before we wrap up, you're in the basketball game with you and Tommy, which obviously ends unfavorably. But dude, did not realize how much athletic prowess you have in the game of basketball. Which is why, and I heard you, I think it was a few nights ago, I don't know what pod I was listening to, where you were like, after I posted and started talking hoops, you're like, everybody was hitting me up. And I was like, oh, I was one of those guys.
Dude, Rick Glassman was like, excuse me, where the fuck is my name in this? I legit play basketball.
He does legit play basketball, and your assessment is pretty accurate. We had a comedy basketball league going about maybe 7-8 years ago. And, there's a Comedy Store team, there's an improv team. My team was like me, Paul Morrissey, who Paul Morrissey is.
Or something again, ball.
Is ball. Jeff Keith. Remember Jeff Keith? He is a baller, dude. We had Brian Moot, Jeff Dye, myself, and a few other guys, and Ari Shafir. Ari and I actually were just messaging back and forth because Ari on some podcast was like, he goes, Adam Ray, he goes, they were talking about Jews they had on the podcast. He goes, Adam Ray, Jew. He goes, also a fucking ball hog. And he goes, this guy, every time in the post would get it, forcing shots, putting them up, like we're all open. He's just forcing up whatever. So I sent him a message instead of trying to make a public beef thing. And I go, Ari, I go, first of all, I go, you were always so visibly stoned that we had to shoot, because I don't know if you remember one time you took 9 steps before you did a layup. He literally did it. It was the funniest I've ever seen. He just 7 or 8 steps, which it's 1.5 for a layup. And he, and then finishes and scores, and the ref calls travel, and Ari still goes, are you serious? And he starts laughing about it. And he's like, I was pretty fucked up. I go, but Ari, you were a good garbage man. You got a lot of good rebounds and putbacks.
Garbage man.
Oh yeah. But we had Santino on the team, dude. There's a lot of guys. And Brad and I played in the NBA Celebrity All-Star game in 2019 in Charlotte. And had 9 points, took a charge, took an elbow from Dr. Oz. But yeah, man, hearing you talk hoops gets me so fired up.
Glassman told me he got kicked out of a league one time.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Dude, I screamed at a wheelchair ref during that comedy basketball league. I mean, it got tense, man. It was like people were just really it was great because you got, it was everything, whatever you were outside of that game, it was like basketball mattered. And that's what's kind of great about it. But if you are seriously trying to organize something at some point, that is a great idea.
I will never play basketball ever again in my life. After watching what happened to Tom to go up to a dunk, I will never. I said, he in the transport, medical transport, he looked at me and he goes, I'm never going to play basketball again. He's broken leg, broken arm, in a wheelchair, strapped in, and real upset. He goes, I'm never going to play basketball again. And I went, what? And he goes, I'm never going to be able to play basketball again. And I went, hey, Tom, I'm never playing again. And he goes, you didn't get hurt. And I go, I know. And that's why I will never play again. And he was like, really? He goes, I may never jump again. I go, Tom, I'm done jumping also. I go, if I can't reach it, fuck it. I don't fucking need it.
Yeah, I didn't need those Rice Krispies anyway. Yeah, I know. I know, man. It's when you're not getting paid for it and you're doing it and it's just like fun. It's like D'Elia used to tell me that when I was playing. He was just like, because I broke my ankle and shattered. I had to get it re-put back together from an outdoor game. Sam Tripoli tossed me a ball. I turned the wrong way, snapped like a tree branch, swelled up. It was the worst feeling ever. And Chris I remember he was just like, are you getting paid? And I was like, no. He's like, why are you playing? And I was like, because it's fun. He goes, it's a lot of stuff that's fun when you're not going to break your ankle at an uneven cement court at middle school in Beverly Hills. So I hear you, man. It's like,
wait, did D'Elia ever play basketball?
No, but I think I think he played baseball because we used to joke about like 80s and 90s baseball players back and forth.
Yeah.
And like rapping to each other, like, you know, Tim Raines, Todd Z, like just like the names like that, and just naming all these guys and leaving each other messages. And I was like, oh, you know a lot. He's like, yeah, man, I played baseball up until this point. I don't think basketball, just seeing how he moves, I don't know, but I feel like baseball, yeah, he could probably like hit and throw okay.
I think DeLeo would be a good athlete. I think.
Yeah, I bet like a track guy. I bet like a high jumper.
No, but he's got an awkward enough. Like you could see him being a pitcher. You know, where like his body would work awkwardly and throw fast.
That's actually dude. He could be, if they do like a new Rookie of the Year. Remember that movie where his arm breaks?
Yeah,
and then he throws it from the outfield. By the way, I mean, I love that movie just because of the Disney. Like he rears back from center field and then throws it, and all his buddy goes is like, "Sweet sassy molassie," or like, you know, some Disney version of "Holy fucking shit!" Like what, you know, it was like funky butt loving or whatever he said. You know,
I like being the come from out of nowhere athlete where everyone's like, "Wait, you can actually play tennis?" Like, I played tennis against Tom and I aced him maybe 21 times, and Tom was like, "Oh yeah, I legit can play tennis," but I can legit serve. I have like. What his coach said is impressive. I have a Division I college serve.
Holy shit.
And but I can't, but as far as the rest of my game is horrible, but a serve, I can just unleash and it's unreturnable. Yeah, and so Tom just sat there like, I can't, I just beat him on service. And so amazing. He was like, every other game was like, oh yeah, just wait till someone fucks up. But I love being that guy. I love being come from out of nowhere.
You're the Pete Sampras of comedy.
Hey, I'm the what did someone call me the other day? Fuck. Oh,
or Agassi. That guy won tournaments while he was on meth. Boy, have you read that guy's book?
Yeah, I bought it. I bought it. I haven't read it. I'm not a big book reader. That's why I stayed on Twitter yesterday when everyone started fucking. You posted one thing and everyone's like, "State your politics. You've been on the fence making money off both sides long enough. You state your politics." And I was like, fuck off.
Christ. Yeah, man.
They went after Bert. I saw some girl go after Bert, and I was like, I wanted to reply to her, honey, he will never read this. And then wanted to retweet her and go, hey guys, someone's looking for a fight. Can anyone help out here? Because you know that Twitter would just eat her alive.
Oh yeah, dude. Am I good? Did I snap out?
You know, either that or you had a stroke and started laughing hysterically in the middle of it. There you go. Yeah, you're good. All right, we should probably wrap this up. I have a conference call that I'm 5 minutes late for.
I'm so sorry, Bert. I love you. Thanks for having me.
I love you, brother. Safe travels up to Seattle, and
I appreciate it.
And I'll talk to you when you get back. Good luck on the series, and let me know so I can promote it on the podcast.
That'd be awesome, man. The February 5th show is the big one. That Seattle one. But dude, this was a blast. You're the best. Thanks for laughing.
Awesome, brother.
I'll see you, buddy.
All right, love you. Take care.
You too. Bye.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.